Va? Done.
So this is the part where I went to the Forbidden City and the Olympic Stadium. So around the end of my trip, the whole family took me to the Great Wall. We got into the car and we started driving, and I want to say it was about like an hour to 2 hour drive, I want to say. And when we got close, I could actually look out and see the mountains and see parts of the Great Wall.
还15公里，我靠！你给我放那儿了，你给我导航，给我导啥呢？我给你导对的，但你没停。这不扯淡呢吗？这不死。
It was so beautiful just to see it like right next to me, like it's right there. It's like from the highway, it's right there. So once we got to the site where you park your car, we then had to get into a line to get on this bus to take us to the entrance of the Great Wall. So we were all waiting to get on the bus, and there was like a huge line. I was, you know, staying with long last shirt, etc. And so this was the most iconic moment ever during my experience in China. You know, this is about like, you know, people staring at you and how you should feel about it. Like, I'll never forget this. So while we were in line, there was like this old short woman, and she had her arm hooked around her nephew, and you know, they were just waiting in line, and then she saw me, and she's like really short, so she's looking up at me. She just kept on staring at me, and without breaking, you know, eye contact with me, she then tapped her nephew and pointed at me. And so when she tapped her nephew looked down at her like, yes, and she was like, she pointed at me, and then he just started saying, so both of them are now just staring at me. And I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't want to like look at them, but every once in a while I'll be just like, just turn and just smile, like, you guys are staring at me, and it's making me kind of uncomfortable. But they were just staring for like, I want to say like a total of like 10 minutes. So yeah, so once we got to the Great Wall, we then had to get our tickets. So once we got our tickets, we then went in a line, and then we could and then we had to climb these staircases to get on top of the Great Wall. And so once we did that, we could either go right or left, and the right side was longer, so it was more crowded. So we decided to go to the left side. It was shorter, and we could get to the end of the Great Wall faster, and it was less crowded. So as we're walking, I was like, okay, alright, it's not that bad. I'm on the Great Wall. This is exciting. Oh my god. Like, this is gonna be so much fun. And then like 10 minutes after that, I was like, whew, this is kind of hard. I need to hold on to the rail because this is kind of getting steep. And I was like, and you know, in the back of my mind, this is like where ignorance happens. In the back of my mind, I was like, I thought the Great Wall of China was completely horizontal. Like, it was completely flat. Like, it was gonna be like an easy walk. But no, I was like, wow, that was foolish of me to think that, because it's, you know, it's built on the mountains. So I was struggling like for a while. Like, I was, at this point, I was like kind of really trying to get up these hills and everything. And so there was like places where we could stop. We were able to like, eat something, and it was funny because every time we got to these spots, everybody was like bringing out snacks and eating, drinking. And so since Wang Lashe was pregnant, she stayed behind with her mom, and so me and her husband went ahead. There was like this humongous staircase. It wasn't going forward, it was just going up. And I was like, oh my god, I have to record this when I go down. So as we're climbing this, the footing of the staircase was really small. And so I had to like kind of turn my feet sideways to even walk up the staircase. That is not good. That's just straight up. So we continued walking. The Great Wall of China was really beautiful. And once we got to the end of the Great Wall, we then had to go back. And then we met Wang Lashe. Hey! Yes. Yeah. And then we started walking back down together. But on our way down, there was like this old man, and he was following me. And when we got to one of those break sites, I was like talking to Wang Lashe and her family, and he was like getting closer and closer to me. And I was like, okay, this is weird, we should move on. So we continued walking down the Great Wall, and we were like walking for like 15 minutes. Then we stopped to take a break. He's still following me. And I was like, okay, let's just figure out what this guy wants. So I just stopped walking, right? He finally gets to me. He's like, picture? I'm like, yeah, okay, you can take a picture of me. Like, I'm thinking he only wants to take a picture of me. Just me. But his wife comes out of nowhere. She was like, I was like, where were you? Like, were you following me too? Like, where were you? And she was like, she got really close to me. She was smiling, and her husband took a picture. And these are like old couples. So after they took my picture, I was like, okay, they're like, thank you. I'm like, no problem. Yeah, so this was the only time I was ever asked to take pictures. After the Great Wall, the next day they took me to the Bird's Nest, the Olympic Stadium. And so it was very deserted. So going in, it was beautiful, fantastic architecture. Like, I was completely blown away with the architecture and how everything was structured, and even the staircases. Ignore it. I don't even know if this is the right way. When I actually went into the stadium, it was kind of like, it's in March, it's during their winter, so there was like snow and yeah. But the architecture in the Olympic Stadium was very impressive and very breathtaking. So that was my experience. So once I finally left Olympic Stadium, I was waiting for Wang Lashe, and I was sitting down. This man approached me, and he was like he had his hand out, and he was like doing this. He was talking in Mandarin. I was like, I don't speak Mandarin. I don't know what you're saying. And he was like this. Based on what he was doing, I assumed that he wanted to read my fortune. And so I was like, no, I'm fine. And so I told Wang Lashe that, and she's like, yeah, you need to stay away from those people. They'll like try and read your fortune and then say something bad's gonna happen to you, and then they'll say if you pay them more money, they'll tell you how to fix it. And I was like, I don't know why he thought I would do that because I don't even know what he's saying. So yeah, there was like people trying to read my fortune while I was there. In China, the food was very bitter to me. Not that it wasn't bad, but because I'm an American and I live in America, we put a lot of sugar in our foods. My taste buds are just different. I remember when Wang Lasher handed me a cupcake and she had one and we both took a bite out of it. She was like, "Ooh, this is really sweet." And I was like, "Ooh, this is really bitter." And so that was really interesting. I tried to drink alcohol while I was there. When we went out to eat, they actually brought drinks for me. They brought white wine and this beer. And I asked Wang Lasher, I was like, "What's the age limit?" And she's like, "Well, there's no real age limit for drinking." And so they gave me this small little cup, and it's called what? That's what she told me. It's called white wine. And it's like this small little cup. They're like, "Okay, Yana, when you drink it, you have to make this face." I was like, "Okay, I can do that. I can do that." As I was like lifting up the drink to my mouth, I could smell the alcohol. I was like, "Oh my god, this is super strong." I was like, and I had to plug up my nose, and I had like a little sip of it, and I was like, "Ah!" I later looked at the bottle. It was 49% alcohol. During my time in China, Wang Lasher took me to these malls. As we're walking into the mall, these kids and their parents were walking out, and one of the kids saw me and said something in Mandarin, and we continued walking, and Wang Lasher said, "Do you want to know what he said to you?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to know." He said, "Goodbye, English teacher, because you're a foreigner." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "That's cute, that's adorable." So before I went to China, I actually saw the movie Crazy Rich Asians, and they were playing Mahjong at the end of that movie. And I was like, "Ooh, when I go to China, I want to get that game." So Wang Lasher's mother actually took me to this like black market where it was completely abandoned, like there was nobody there, but there were like inside these humongous buildings, there were like vendors. So we were like looking for a Mahjong board. We were asking a lot of people. Well, she was asking. The only word I understood was Mahjong. We finally found this person and she gave me this Mahjong board. I was like, "Awesome." It was blue. I wanted green, but she only had blue, so I was like, "I'll take it." And then she handed me this Hello Kitty little mat for the Mahjong board. I was like, "Do you have anything else other than Hello Kitty?" She's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, I'll take it." And she was really trying to get me to buy more stuff. I was like, "Thank you." My entire time I was there, nobody, especially at the vendors, nobody tried to persuade me to buy their product. So once I bought the Mahjong game, we brought it back home, and so they actually taught me how to play. The entire family was playing.
那不吃吗？
那个叫对，那个不叫吃。
这不能吃啊，
不能，只能是只有一对的，3个一样的。
3个样才能吃。
人家要打一个或者打给。
And they taught me how to play properly, and I was like, okay. And I was making mental notes because I was gonna bring it back to America and have my family play it. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please click the subscribe button to see more videos of all of my siblings. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.